meeting of the Christiansburg Town Council to order. And as we normally do, we'll pause for a moment of reflection, and then followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Wilson. So let's take a moment of reflection, please. Thank you. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
Yes, I have two. I would like to start with one. I would like to adjust the item A under the letter D, under the discussion by mayor and council.
Letter A.
It will be number 8, letter D, under the discussion by mayor and council until the next town council meeting, due to having to wait on the planning commission to get their last of their vote and the last of their discussions to be done, because I know that that was moved for their next planning commission meeting, and so forth. We don't have their votes, and there is just a lot of things that I just really have.
Okay. So the
concerns about it.
the first one you want to move is under section
Discussion
A
and
through
action,
Q. Which is it?
which is going to be the letter D,
D.
which is rezoning request by Arden Investments, Annex LLC, property owner and applicant, to rezone the property.
Okay.
Just to
Is there
win.
a second to that motion?
Second.
Second.
Okay. Now, before we go into this, you know the Planning Commission has met and voted to approve this.
But they haven't voted.
Yes, they have. Yeah, they have. They voted 5-0 at the meeting on June 2nd. So if you'd like, I'll allow you to withdraw that motion.
Can you tell me what the vote was first?
It's in your agenda, but it's 5-0.
I read the agenda, and the documents I was reading, it said that it was moved. Okay, so can you all voted for it? Okay, so I withdraw that motion, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. Next one.
And then the second one
Do you
is,
withdraw the second?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just wanted us to be able to talk about it.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
And then, I would like to, separate the aquatic center, from the budget. And I will also like to, move that, eliminate the item P, that talks about the, heat pump, the contract for the $10,587,000 until we have a work session.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk,
We're gonna have discussion, right?
I just asked for discussion on the vote.
Yeah, but we're
Yeah.
going to be discussing.
Yeah, we'll have discussion. I'm going to read a letter that was sent to council this afternoon by Randy Wingfield. Says, I'm attaching the receipts associated with the Aquatic Center HVAC over the last 3 years as requested at the work session. I'm also attaching the SETI HVAC evaluation and study. Please note section 1.4 on page 5 for a summary of their professional opinion. According to the SETI report, the units are currently operating at only 20% of their air quality. Since August of 2022, HVAC repair bills alone have amounted to $1,455, excluding the cost for lifts, wages, and manpower. As I think most of you are aware, the Aquatic Center is a very harsh environment for maintenance due to the high humidity and the chloramines in the air. Other impacts of the current HVAC system condition include, number one, the ceiling anchoring mechanisms continue to deteriorate, fail due to excessive corrosion caused by the poor air quality, leading to high levels of chloramines and rust. This has resulted in the deterioration of bolts, holding up the lights and sock duct. A $481,000 upgrade to LED lights was performed, partially to reduce the weight on these mechanisms. Excessive moisture is accumulating in the building's structural blocks, leading to breakage. Gas leaks have been detected in the PAC units due to the rust and corroded lines. If a leak occurs during the winter, a minimum 10-week facility shutdown is required due to the turnaround time. Repair parts for outdated units are scarce, often requiring the use of salvage parts. The fire safety system inside the PACS unit is unreliable due to the corrosion from poor air quality, resulting in frequent emergency service outcalls for false alarms. The loss of several competitive swim meets has resulted in a direct revenue loss of $80,000 to $100,000, and the overall economic impact loss of $3 to $4 million, including meals and lodging tax revenues. Rust drops from the ceiling into customers and employees, causing stains on the sock ducts. The rust along the ceiling, walls, and windows is visible from the front of the building. The rust is removed annually. Multiple electronics and IT-related components, including time clocks, computers, scoreboards, sound systems, and swim meet timing systems have been replaced due to failure attributed to excess moisture. Mold has been detected in the ceiling panels of offices due to excessive humidity, with no dehumidification in place. Ceiling panels are replaced every few weeks. Patrons and athletes have reported visiting the emergency room due to coughs, asthma, headaches, and other illnesses. Ceiling insulation in the form of white soft chunks is falling onto staffs and patrons in the water. In addition to concerns with air quality concerns, replacing or repairing units in kind will not provide the necessary dehumidification to protect other building components and systems from future deterioration. We also believe that including time clocks, computers, scoreboards, sound systems, and swim meet timing systems have been replaced due to failure attributed to excess moisture. Mold has been detected in the ceiling panels of offices due to excessive humidity, with no dehumidification in place. Ceiling panels are being replaced every 2 weeks. It just goes on to repeat more of the same. In addition to the concerns with air quality, repairing and replacing units in kind will not provide the necessary dehumidification to protect other building components and systems from future deterioration. We also believe that there could be should be some energy savings associated with newer units, despite the fact that the replacements would be slightly larger. Specific warranty and lifetime information for the proposed units are not available, as they depend on the units selected by the contractor to meet our project specifications. Generally, a lifespan of 10 to 15 years is expected, with the possibility of operating longer if well-maintained. Manufacturers' warranties typically range from 1 to 2 years, but extended warranties are sometimes available for purchase.
I
And
think
then
that's,
attached is a list of the repairs to the system over the last 3 years, I believe, Randy?
Correct.
Totaling the $201,000 that I mentioned earlier. And this is part of the reason that we think we need to stop and talk and have a meeting before we rush into another $10.6 million on the Aquatic Center.
There is a lot of questions too that this makes me think about, you know, there is one of those things that we still have no information about the warranty information really from the company. They said they still haven't picked out from my understanding, they still don't even know what they're gonna be using. One of my biggest concerns, if you put the bid out, didn't you specify that we needed a warranty timeframe?
I don't think a specific warranty was specified.
Well, I think we need to go back and ask for another bidding for this, if that's the case, because in my case, we have had issues with air conditioners where they were not covered by the warranty because of different factors. And so if that is the case, we're not spending pocket change over here. We're charging for a lot of, we're getting charged a lot of money for this, and this is a very big investment, and I don't feel like it's gonna happen the same thing like the park where we pay for a splash pad and now we have to repaint and all the stuff, even with 1 year and a half. My other question is, there's just a lot of things that I feel that need to be discussed in our work session, especially where we pay over $400,000 in replacing lights. And the bills alone, just for this bill agenda, there was like over $40,000 in a sound system. Why are we buying all these things if we have an air quality that is hazardous to the health of the people and the citizens that are using it? There's just a lot of questions, and I don't feel confident about, this, the situation we're in. We're having a company that's going to be installing solar panels now, which I have been very excited about it for years. And now, we're talking about foundation issues and everything else, and I have seen the cracks and everything on the building. So to me, it's a big concern. It's a health hazard right now, and I just feel like there is another discussion that needs to be taking place before we spend all this money.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any other comments or
Yeah,
questions?
I just wanted to say,
I'm confused on the motion, to be honest with you.
You what?
I want to have a work session and taking it out of the agenda.
Okay.
So just completely canceling it out of there and taking it out of, for now. We can always definitely make amendments to the budget and everything else, but that's all right now. I feel like it needs to be taken out of the discussion for tonight.
I think it's an urgent need. We've saved a substantial amount for this project. It's an urgent need for all of the reasons that were mentioned. I don't think we have time to wait for this. We've already had a work session. There's been multiple questions asked by email. I think we need to make some action on this, and we can talk about any of those open questions when we get to that item in the agenda.
This
Anyone
email
else?
just came up today,
I'm sorry.
Tanya.
Anyone
And-
else? Anyone else? You've had your say.
Well-
Anyone else? Mr. Wilson?
I'm responding to her.
I don't think she was addressing you
Well,
specifically.
I think she was, and I feel like I need to say my words. This letter that she just wrote, these concerns about people going to the hospital and everything are things that just came out today. I wasn't aware of this. I have been in town council for over 7 years, and I was not aware of this. Now, the other concern is that we are willing to pay for a system that's over $10 million to the citizens, might as well call it 11 million. And it's not only that, but we have no warranty right now because we didn't ask for it. And so this may not have any warranty at all. And so what happens, we have spent over $200,000 in the last 3 years fixing the equipment that we have right now. But what happened was that when the system was installed, it was, from what I'm hearing, we installed the wrong equipment in there. And that's the reason why we're having so many issues right now. I think that this really should go back for bidding and see if there is another company that will bid into it, or the company that put the bidding on it will give us more details about what they will cover, because that's a lot of money.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop,
No.
Councilwoman Bowman,
I'm sorry, what was the motion?
To move this to a work session,
To move this to a,
And to eliminate,
to eliminate it
Item
from
E
the
out of the
item E,
agenda.
out of the agenda.
okay, yes.
Councilwoman Hicks,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett,
No.
Councilman Jenkins,
No.
Councilman Wilson,
No.
all right, that is 4-2. That motion is denied, and they will stay on the budget.
Mayor, I do have one more. I have one more adjustment.
Okay.
This was an easy one. Consent agenda, item A, just to separate the minutes of May 27th and June 4th. I was on vacation on May 27th, so I'd like to have those minutes separated.
Second.
And you were out of town? No, okay, yeah.
It was-
Motion and a second. Madam Clerk, any further discussion? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop,
Aye.
Councilwoman Bowman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett,
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins,
Aye.
Councilman Wilson,
Aye.
Thank you. Call a public hearing into order. We have a public hearing tonight based for the water rate increase of $1 per 1,000 gallons.
In town and out of town, it'd be $2 per.
In out of town would be $2. That would put our 1,000 gallon rate at $11 and $22 for the county. Anyone here to address this item?
Christine Waltz, 1370 Rigby Street. I spoke last time, and I'm going to say it again. I've heard Councilman Bowman say a couple of times that you're putting the cart before the horse. I feel like the rate increase in this instance is that. It is an assigned fund, which means that it can only be used for it. Usually, I'm all in favor of keeping extra money, but in this case, what you're doing is taking money out of the pockets of your citizens, and you're going to put it in the bank for Randy. You have a leak study that will take about 9 months, which would put you into March of next year when you're discussing next year's budget. I think until then, and I know that Randy's told Councilman Wilson, and he told Councilman Bowman that there's already enough money in there from the last times you raised rates to even cover the costs that are associated with the 20-cent increase, and it's a 20-cent, not a dollar, increase that this year would have incurred. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing no one, I will close the public hearing. We'll move to the consent agenda. Under the consent agenda, we have approval of the minutes for May 27th, 2025, the bill list, the amendment purchase order for contract for data processing, data protection, and set town council public hearing for August the 12th, 2025, for an ordinance, Chapter 42 zoning, Christiansburg Town, to clarify the measurement of frontage and corner lots correct for spelling and grammar, and alphabetize permitted uses and alphabetize parking requirements.
So move.
Second.
In motion and a second?
No, we need to move A out.
Vote on that separate.
No, I'm doing B, which is, I'm gonna do it,
Oh, you can do one
the
at a time.
second part of that A.
My fault.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. No, wait a minute,
No.
you got a call, don't you?
Councilman Bishop,
Aye.
Councilwoman Bowman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett,
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins,
Aye.
Councilman Wilson,
Aye.
That is 6-0. For the approval of the work session meeting on June 4, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second. I think we have those back.
I think I am confused on that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We will,
I rescind my first motion for the consent agenda because it should have been for
BC.
approval of minutes of June 4th.
Okay,
And
Correct.
everything else.
very
And
good,
then
that's
May
correct.
27th would be a
Thank you.
separate one. So I so move that approve the minutes, June 4th, B and C, B, C, and D.
Got a second?
Second.
Are we, I think we had it right. June 4th was the work session, correct?
Right.
And that's what we
Casey
separated
attended
out.
it, but he
Right.
was out of town.
The mayor called May 27th when one of the first time he
That
did
would
it.
be right, because May 27th was our meeting.
Madam Clerk,
Which one are we doing? I'm sorry.
we're doing June 4th,
Which
work
is the
session, the bill list, amendments, and public hearing.
Yeah, can I ask one question about the bill list?
Sure.
Yeah, I had one item I just wanted to find out a little more about. There was Tyler Technologies, Inc. on page 2. It's PH 4B as Assistant Manager Training Travel at $5,125 under the Finance Department. Could somebody tell me a little more about that?
See, that's what I'm confused.
So as part of the contract this is the new software that we've changed to, and we're still implementing modules. And when the trainers come here to train, we have in our agreement that we reimburse travel expenses.
How
So
many
we
trainers
do,
and how long were they here?
it depends on the module that they're implementing. I think these were here for 4 days. We try to do as much training as we can virtually, but we hope that they can come for some live training because hands-on is so much better. So, does that answer your question?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And since you guys are talking, but let me see.
The bill list.
You're just on bill list still, right? Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah, you haven't voted on letter D, right?
I haven't done what?
It's in the,
That's
it's
what
on
we're doing
the,
now.
it's on the motion.
Is that the one we're talking about right now?
June 4th, B, C, and D are on the
Okay,
motion to
so the
approve.
D, my question is, I don't know if I was looking at all thing or whatever, but has this gone to planning commission, the letter D on their consent agenda for said town council public hearing for the ordinance amending?
Hello. It has not gone to planning commission yet. It will not go to planning commission until you all approve that we have.
Public
to
hearing.
do So, yeah.
Okay, so it will go to them
It will,
first and then it'll
yeah.
come back.
Yeah,
Thank you
it
for
will.
answering that.
They will have to have their own public hearing as well.
Yes, we have 2 public hearings.
Okay.
And it
sounds
has to
good.
be advertised twice.
Okay, just making sure. Thank you.
No problem.
I might have to.
On the 4th.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so the motion is the June 4, B, C, and D.
Oh, and you were on C. Randy, I'm kind of confused a little bit on letter C because we are using about 27, but we're paying for, can you explain that one to me more again? Are we going to be under contract for purchasing double what we're using? Is that correct?
Well, we were, I guess, previously at 16 terabytes. Right now, we're around 27, and it's because of basically our data storage.
Okay.
To be honest, the council meeting videos that we have stored is a large portion of that.
Okay.
We have talked about maybe trying to offload some of those, but we still have a tremendous amount of data storage between all of our mapping files, email, things like that that are backed up. It's a lot of storage. We have it basically here at the town, and it's data storage is what it is.
Okay, so you're just saying that you want 27 instead of the 16?
That's correct. That's what we're currently at. Not to say that it can't increase over time, because it increases continually.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, June 4, B, C, and D, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Bishop,
Abstain. I was not here for June 4th meeting.
Councilwoman Bowman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
That's 5-0 and 1 abstain. The minutes of May 27th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop.
Aye.
Councilwoman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Abstain.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
5-0 and 1, thank you. We have no introductions and presentations tonight. Citizens' comments, the floor is now open.
Chris Waltz, 1370 Rigby Street. Originally, I was going to talk, well, I'm still going to talk about it, but the HVAC system. Because I remember back in 2017 or 2018, Terry, the director of the Aquatic Center, when you had a budget work session talking about this, said it was, the HVAC was operating at 75 to 80%. And at that point, it had, I forget the exact wording, whether it was unsafe or unhealthy buildup of chloramines in the pool. I mean, it's a respiratory irritant. It's actually been used in some countries as kind of a low-rent chemical weapon. But you have that, you have mold. Mold is a pretty serious thing, especially if it's black mold. In the offices of your employees, you're looking to fix a problem in structural damage, corrosion. You're looking to spend $10 million to fix a problem when the actual problem is the whole aquatic center itself at this point. Because originally, whoever did the contract, which I agree with having concerns about the contract, the thing wasn't even designed for a building that big or for the environment of an aquatic center, which is why it failed in the first place. And it wouldn't have fallen under manufacturer warranty anyway, because every manufacturer warranty says as long as you use it as it's supposed to be used. It was never designed for an aquatic center, which is why you could never get any warranty repairs on it. But this stuff is insane. I mean, at this point, you should probably be talking to OSHA. If you have mold issues, that requires remediation. Chloramine issues at 20%, at the special session, they said 50. Today, they said 20. 20%. You are basically poisoning people, and people going to the emergency room because of it. You're basically creating a very dangerous situation, and you're probably opening the town up to litigation. You should fix that stuff before you even consider spending another $10 million. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Jamie Bond, 2263 Pilot Road, Christiansburg. Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, I am the owner-operator at Old Town Barber and Hair Salon on 106 West Main Street. I have my notes so I won't get sidetracked. Our shop has been in existence on Main Street successfully for over 75 years. I have worked on Main Street for 36 years and have owned the business for 31 years. So I have a pretty good idea about what happens downtown. I also own the property that we are at. I come to you this evening with concerns about the Hickok Downtown Street project. Yes, I understand it's been in the planning for 5 years, and yes, I understand improvements must be made. But up until recently, it was called the Hickok Street project. Why would I think that it would affect Main Street, not being informed of what was in the planning? Our business is 100% commission, meaning the 10 people that work full and part-time suffer anytime the streets are closed, for any reason. I hear people say the downtown is dead. Well, from where I see it, we do, on the average, of 400 to 450 haircuts a week. So, in my mind, it's not so dead on my end. But when customers are hindered from getting to my business, it affects paychecks. I'm sure none of you would want to see $100 off of their paycheck a week. Well, that's what happens when a few haircuts a day decide not to come in or don't want to deal with the construction that's happening. I also hear people say the downtown should be a walking district or have one-way streets. We don't live in a city, and we don't have colleges to support that. Or tell the men and women that support my business using wheelchairs, walkers, canes, or just don't move around as well as some of us. Our clients come from all over, along with travelers that drive by and stop in for a cut. This week, someone from Charleston, last week, someone from Texas. So how can we keep our customers from not getting frustrated and keep coming in? Signs help as long as they are placed correctly and are legible and accurate. Words like local traffic can be confusing to those that may not be local. We would like the town to consider designating a couple spots, at least while the streets are going to be closed across-wise, just for us, temporarily. Also, consider using after-hour extra work time between 6 and 12. I know you all have traveled down there. There is no traffic, 6 to 12 midnight. Or Saturdays after 1 o'clock. There's nothing happening down there. So if we could use some of that at least to get back on schedule. In the beginning, it was 4 months. Now it's moved to February 2026. That's right through our most busy time of the year. Keeping the streets open so the community can get to us is very appreciated. Although I do believe doing a U-turn to get back out of the street is going to be a disaster. How do we get deliveries? Have we let the entities be informed on how to get to us? Rerouting traffic to First Street and customers using back parking lots to cut through to Main Street. Some parking lots have major potholes. Have we considered working with those businesses to ensure passage? We've worked hard to get the business we have, and we want to keep it. Thanks for listening. I understand things come along the way and have caused problems in the project, and I get that. And all about, especially with the church, I'm all about keeping the Lord's house safe. But we've got to find a way to move this along so it's not taking so long, because we have a lot of people that come downtown on that end. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you, Jamie. Anyone else? Hearing no one, I will close citizens' comments. Move into committee reports. Any committees met in the last 2 weeks?
No.
No committee reports. Move into the discussion and action by mayor and council. Item A, a code amendment request for the town of Christiansburg applicant to amend chapter 42 zoning of the Christiansburg Town Code, section 42-11, amendments to chapter C, notice and hearing. The request is, 1, to remove the required notices of public hearings to be published once a week for 2 successive weeks, and 2, amend the advertising requirements to the first notice appearing no more than 28 days before the second notice appearing no less than 7 days before the date the meeting to be referenced in the notice. The change would bring town code into alignment with Code of Virginia, section 15-2-22-04, advertisement of plans, ordinances, etc., joint public hearings, written notice of certain amendments.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Get a motion and a second. Any comments, questions?
Yes, I am against this, and I'm going to tell you the same thing I told you the last time. I feel like the more time that you are able to provide notices to businesses or people where changes are going to happen around them is very important. And I know that we can always follow the state code, which is the least amount of days that they require, but we can also do better. So I'm going to be voting no on this. But as far as did this go to the Planning Commission?
Yep.
Yes.
5-0.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop,
Aye.
Councilwoman Bowman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks,
Nay.
Councilwoman Hockett,
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
Ms. Bowman, what was your vote?
I don't see that it's
What was your
limiting
vote?
the
Did
time.
yea or nay?
Yeah, I vote yes.
Okay, thank you. I just didn't get it recorded.
Yep.
Conditional use request for Mary Frances Keith, property owner and applicant, to allow a single-family or two-family dwelling in the B3 General Business District on property located near the intersection of Boxwood Drive Northwest and Redwood Drive Northwest, approximately .048 acre tract parcel number 466-1-49, 50, 51, and 52. The property is designated as mixed use with buffer residential business on the future land use map of the 2013 comprehensive plan.
Motion to approve?
Second.
A motion and a second. In discussion? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop,
Aye.
Councilwoman Bowman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett,
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
Thank you. Conditional use permit request by Birch Properties LLC, property owner and David Beasley, applicant, to allow for a kennel in the B3 General Business District on property located at 1605 North Franklin Street, approximately 10.9 acres, parcel number 466-A-20C. The property is designated as business commercial on the future land use map of the 2013 comprehensive plan.
Make a
Motion to
motion to
approve.
approve.
Got a motion? Motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop,
Aye.
Councilwoman Bowman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett,
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
That is 6-0. Item D, a rezoning request by RN Investments Annex LLC, property owner and applicant to rezone property located at 115 Farmview Road Northwest, approximately 9.05 acre tract, parcel number 466-1-60A through 67A, from B3 General Business District to I2 General Industrial District. The property was designated as business commercial on a future land use map, the 2013 comprehensive plan.
Motion to approve?
Second.
A motion and a second.
I have a comment. So when I was looking at the stuff, I noticed that there's a small writing here under the agenda information, the description, but under the information provided, I do not see where the planning commission actually voted on it. I do see that it passed, but as far as the information that is provided under the links, the first one was the application. It didn't have it in there. The planning commission resolution, it was not in there. Under the April 28, it wasn't there. May 19, it was moved to June for the voting thing, and then the staff reporting mobs. There was no information in there. And I got confused on the May 19, where I was looking at the June, trying to do the vote, but I did not see the vote on that. And I think the one comment that I have on this is that even on the minutes that I was reading and stuff, was there anything mentioned? Not that I'm against about anything done with the property, but one of my questions is, I know that asset rental, which is in pretty much not is a commercial location, but it wasn't industrial. When we allowed them to put their business there, we asked them to put like a whole fence all around it. Was there anything required for this company to do anything like that, or what was done through the planning commission?
Yes, they are doing the screening fence, so that is part of the application. So there will be a fence around. The only difference was that usually it requires covering over the materials, but in this case, it being I2, it would not have that requirement, but it does require the shielding. So that is going to be around all that storage area.
Okay. All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. I just want to make sure everybody's just,
Thank you, Retta.
thank you. No problem.
Any other comments or questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop,
Aye.
Councilwoman Bowman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett,
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
All right, that is 6-0. Town of Christiansburg Community Development Block Grant, CDBG 2025 Annual Action Plan and amended 2022 to 2026 Consolidation Plan.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I,
You got a motion and a second. Any questions?
Yes, as far as the community development block grant, is there any going to be guidelines and things like that as far as like who gets the money? Well, I know they're getting the money, but as far as giving the money, so it's not gonna go like to possible people that don't really need it, maybe, investors or something like that, that it really goes to the
No,
people.
it'd be income-based.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop.
Aye.
Councilwoman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
This is 6-0. Resolution for adoption of allocation formula agreement between the County of Montgomery, Virginia, the Town of Blacksburg, Virginia, the Town of Christiansburg, Virginia, Virginia Polytechnic Institute, State University, and the New River Valley Emergency Communications Regional Authority.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Comments or questions?
Yeah, I think this is like, what, $139,000 a year commitment, is that correct?
It's, the payment schedule's in the document. The first year, it's $139,000. The payment does actually vary year to year, though. And this will require us to also purchase radios, basically not this coming fiscal year, but next fiscal year after this. So basically, July of '26, we would need to have approximately 1.3 some million dollars available for radio purchase.
And
We have approximately $500,000 in the budget now, included for the 136 some payment and the radios right now. So there'll be a little bit of money in the bank for that next July.
And my understanding that a lot of this is just going to be replacing what we have inside town limits, but also building new towers inside the county limits, right?
There's two new towers that would be built by the county, and I believe the county's paying for those because they're county towers. Basically, you'd be based on your usage of the towers. So what towers you're on is the towers that you would pay for. The overall equipment and radios for the 911 center would be split 25% each, and each locality or jurisdiction would pay for their own radio purchase.
Is there any way that I would really like to put this one item, as a note on the side, maybe for Chippy and you, as far as one of those comments that we can also make when we do meet with the county eventually, as far as like, pointing out that we do pay for a lot of things that, they should also be helping us with, so.
Any other comments or questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop.
Aye.
Councilwoman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
That is 6-0. A resolution approving a support agreement in connection with the issuance of revenue bonds by the New River Valley Emergency Communications Regional Authority to finance a new system and the related payment obligations to be incurred by the town of Christiansburg.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Comments?
Yeah, was this, I hope that this helps a lot of the citizens that we're having to go after, right, like forward. Is that what it was designed for, or who came out with this?
Well, this support agreement is actually for the financing for the authority, is what it is, for basically the resolution that was above in regards to the tower project.
No, wasn't.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about the other item, I'm sorry.
Any other comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop.
Aye.
Councilwoman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
Item H is an agreement between the town of Christiansburg and Habitat for Humanity of the New River Valley for HUD CBDG Program 2025, Emergency Home Repair Program. And I think that's $40,000 that we will be sharing with New River Valley for repairs, emergency repairs, and $5,000 for administrative costs.
Correct.
Make a
Motion to
motion.
approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second? Madam, any other comments?
And the same thing applies with them, they're gonna follow guidelines.
Just a question about the sidewalks, like, what percentage are finished, or how much more do we have to go?
Well, the CDBG money that you voted on earlier, that is only eligible to be spent in low to moderate income districts. Previously, it had only been the district that's bound by Roanoke Street, East Main Street, and Depot Street. That's the only area we could spend the money previously. This, I guess, new census coming out actually did open up a few more areas in town to spend the money. But we still have to spend it in a low to moderate income district.
Okay, so have we
But
identified,
it's-
any other
well,
areas that are?
We have been doing sidewalk projects, and actually what we've been, I guess, planning on doing is extending the sidewalks up the East Main Street with the money. That's kind of what we've been doing. We extended them out Roanoke Street with some of the money previously, and we did the Park Street sidewalks with some of the money previously as well.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other comments or questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop. Councilwoman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
It is 6-0. Thank you. Item I is to set the personal property tax rate for fiscal year 2025, 2026. There was no proposed tax increase for those.
Make a
Motion
motion
to
to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Comments?
And I'm voting yes for it because there is no
You
increase.
tell us when you vote. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop.
Aye.
Councilwoman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
Set the real personal property tax rate for fiscal year 2025, 2026. That is at 14 cents per hundred, no increase.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop.
Aye.
Councilman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Nay. I'm sorry. Yes. Aye. Sorry.
Councilwoman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
6-0. Resolution for water rate increase, as mentioned earlier in the public hearing.
Motion to approve.
Second.
If, Mr. Mayor, if I may, I think that, I spoke to Randy about this, I think that the agenda may have a typographical error. I think the intention is to approve the water rate increase by ordinance, not resolution, just to clarify that. So I'd ask that you include it that way in your motion.
Resolution ordinance.
The code,
6 of one, a half dozen of the other
the
one.
code requires that it be approved by ordinance, not resolution.
All right.
So could you say that again? What do we need to say?
We
So I-
need to withdraw the two motions and put it in the form of an ordinance.
I withdraw my second.
Withdraw my first.
Now,
And then
we
I
have a
make a
put in the
motion,
form
make
of
a
an
motion
ordinance.
for,
Yes, and I think Randy's preparing it
I'm
as an
fine with that.
ordinance.
making a motion as an ordinance for the water rate increase.
Thank you.
Second. Thank you.
Motion and a second. Comments?
Well, and that's really understandable, especially because we just had a public hearing today. We're actually voting at a water rate increase the same day, not giving really time for that. And then not only that, but I am in agreement with Mrs. Kim as far as, we do have the money in there. We do not have to do an increase. And for the last years that they have done water increases in the town, it was mentioned the same thing. We are getting this extra dollar. We have gone so many dollars up every time when in reality, the water authority has only gone, this is probably one of the largest increases I have seen, which is still 20 cents. It's still not $1. And so I will not vote on that. And especially there is, that study that's still not out there yet, where the leaks are not fixed yet. And so I am definitely not going to vote for that.
Okay. Any other comments?
So the fact of the matter is, the study's been done to say that we have upwards of a 30% water loss based on what we're purchasing from the water authority and what we're being reimbursed for. So we know we have a 30% water loss. What we don't know is where the loss is at. But we know that when we identify the loss, that we're going to have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of repairs that are going to be needed to accomplish that, which will in fact reduce the amount of that 30% that we're losing on an annual basis. So what the intent behind this is so it's a 19 cent increase this year and a 20 cent increase next year. We know those rates are going to be 39 cent over the next 2 years. But we also know that we have several $100,000 worth of repair work that we're going to have to do to the infrastructure of the town. And unlike other municipalities who have failed to raise their rates to try to cover the cost, now they're all struggling. I see the futures, we're going to need the money. So we have done a study. We do know that we have a loss. We just don't know where it's at and what the repair bill is going to be. So
The leaks are not fixed, like it was mentioned. And so for
You
the
said we
last
haven't done a
years, just
study,
like
and I
I
was just
said, well, the
addressing the fact
study
that we
to
have
be
done a study.
finished where they have to fix the leaks. And so I understand that the study has been talked about for years, that we have done the stuff, but it's not fixed. So until it is fixed, and not only that, but the comment has been for years now. We went from like, in the last 10 years, we went from $5 to $6 to almost $12 now for 1,000 gallons with the same comment. We are going to increase it by $1 because we're going to save for the future. We're going to save for the future. We're going to do this study. We're going to do the study. We did the study, and now we got to fix the problem. So we do have, from the comment I did here, Randy D said that we had the money in there to supply for that. And so right now, I
cover
don't
the
think we
cost
should
of the
be.
19 cent
But
per-
right now, we should not be.
is what we have the money for. We don't have the money in reserves to repair once we determine what the infrastructure repair.
Well, that's not
costs
my
are.
understanding. So with
Okay.
the comments
Just
from
trying to help
before,
you
I'm going to
understand.
vote no on it.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop. Councilwoman Bowman.
Nay.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Nay.
Councilwoman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
That is 4-2,
Councilman
is that correct?
Wilson.
Aye.
That's 4-2. I knew what you were going to do. Budget allocation and cost of living adjustment, COLA, which is was 3.5%, was that what the state recommended?
The
Or 2.5?
2.5.
2.5.
Make a motion to approve the COLA.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop. Councilwoman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
It is 6-0, budget allocation for the merit pool.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second. Comments?
I'm going to vote no on it.
Okay, thank
Because
you.
it's just, it's comments, right? So I get to say my comments, thank you.
Within order, within reason.
I am within order. I'm talking about the allocation of the merit pool, and it's important for me to say my piece, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. As far as the merit pool, I feel like we are already giving a cost of living. We have been giving a cost of living in merit for the last years and everything. I just feel like even with it being a political year and everything else, I do not feel like we should be able to give this merit pool allowance right now for this year.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I'd like to make a comment also. I do value every employee, but I did the math, and we are, with this raise, we would average 7% increase for the past 4 years. Without the merit, you're still at 6.5%, which is still above any of the other municipalities around us that we were given as examples of what to set rates for, with Blacksburg averaging 5.625, which I believe is probably the closest comparison, in municipalities. And, my reasoning for that is, we can't find the money to save for the citizens on the water, but we can manage 7% increases for the past, this would make 4 years. And I think that every once in a while, the citizens deserve that break. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, I think that comparing percentages only is an accurate measure of an increase if you're starting from the same place, which in a lot of places we haven't started at the same place for the pay for our employees. And, comparing that to our neighboring localities. I think this keeps us competitive. We want to be able to replace the critical infrastructure, but we want to have people who can do that and do it well and do a good job. And providing these merit increases shows us that we appreciate our employees for the job well done that they do, and ensures that we have the people to do and provide those services that our citizens enjoy. So that's why I'm supporting this.
And for the citizens who are going to watch this, the town used to do what's called a step increase for the employees. So they got a COLA and then they could get a step increase. We eliminated that, and we've gone to a merit pool. So if we had the old system, they would still get what we consider a merit increase today. They just wouldn't have had to come to council every year to figure out what the percentage is.
True. The county
So-
didn't get a merit at all this year. They got a 3% COLA, which I would have been on board for, by the way.
We just, I understand that the thing you just said, Mr. Wilson, was the same comment Mr. Randy said the other day, giving an explanation for the last, 10 years we have been giving that, but thinking about just all the increases that we have had over the years, and even within the last 10 years, it's not that I don't appreciate every employee here, because I know they do a well job. But as far as the increases within the last 2 years, I believe it was altogether was 12.5, I think Randy had said. So I do feel like everybody is struggling around our town even, and around the country, not seeing what the future is going to look like. And I feel like everybody, if the citizens have to buckle up a little bit and realize, we're going to have probably some issues economically, I think that we need to do the same for our citizens, just telling our employees that we're not going to be giving them more that the citizens are making, so.
Thank you. Any other comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop. Councilwoman Bowman.
Nay.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Nay.
Councilwoman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
That is 4-2. Merit pool increases pass. Resolution for adoption of fiscal year 2025-2026 budget.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the budget. Any comments?
Yeah, I'd
Since I-
just like to say thank you to all the department heads and everybody. It's a grueling period to come up with a budget that the six of us are going to agree upon. And I just want you to know I appreciate all the efforts y'all put into it.
Since I'm voting no on several of the items and they're included on the budget, I'm going to be voting no on the budget.
Thank you. Any other comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop. Councilwoman Bowman.
Nay.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Nay.
Councilwoman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
That is 4-2. Resolution for appropriations for the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget.
So
Motion to
move.
approve. Second.
Okay,
My same reasons for this.
thank you. Okay. Madam Clerk, any other comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop. Councilwoman Bowman.
Nay.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Nay.
Councilwoman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
That's 4-2. Budget passes. Go to work. Award of construction contract for Branch Builders Incorporated in the amount of $10,587,000 for the replacement of the heating, ventilation, air conditioning system of HVAC at Christiansburg Aquatic Center.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments?
Yes, I am going to be voting no on this because there is no warranty information as far as this goes. And I just don't feel like I would be doing a good service to the citizens if I don't have that information, especially because we're spending over almost $11 million on this.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Randy, will you share the details of the system that's chosen and the warranty after they do their research and choose the right
Certainly.
system? Thank you.
Very good. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop. Councilwoman Bowman.
Nay.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Nay.
Councilwoman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson,
Aye.
That is 4-2. Proceed, Mr. Wingfield. Staff reports, Town Manager.
Just, I guess, one clarification I'll make in regards to the email that I sent earlier today. We referenced 20% air quality. That actually should be 50%, and that is from page 7 of the SETI report I sent you. It's basically the first paragraph of section 2 is where they cite the air quality. I'll also mention that Rocking Maine is this Saturday from 5 to 9. This next Wednesday, we would have a work session scheduled for the 18th, if you still care to have that. Do you care to meet next Wednesday? And if you do, what topics would you want?
I'd like to suggest we postpone this next meeting, this work session to the following month.
It's fine with me.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
I'll mention that next Thursday will be the Juneteenth holiday. The Blacksburg Transit is looking at renaming the gold route. We've been using the blue and gold route for the transit system here in town. They want to rename the gold route the green route because they think the green shows up on their maps much better. And I think we're going to be okay with that. Just to let you know, we're going to look at making the change. Also, they are looking at expanding the service. We're going to take the gold/green route off of North Franklin, Franklin and Roanoke, and use the bypass to get down Roanoke Street. And we'll be able to pick up more service out Roanoke Street. We'll go out further out the Motor Mall and out to the hotel areas because we're starting to get a lot of, I guess, calls for deviations out towards the hotels down on the end. So we plan on extending service out there. We have 2 applicants for the Arts Advisory Board, and we'll be sending those to the Central Business District Committee for review soon. We also have 2 applicants for the Planning Commission. There was 1 vacancy there, and I'll basically leave it to Town Council how you'd like to handle those applicants. Would you want to do interviews? How would you want to handle that?
How have we done it in the past?
You've done it different ways in the
Different ways,
past.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
You've done interviews in the past. You've, I think, simply reviewed their applications before in the past as well. However you'd want to handle it.
I just want to look at the applications and go,
Okay? Maybe put it on discussion in the future agenda and get you the applications.
please.
Okay.
Okay.
We have been moving the farmers market to the park in part because of vendor feedback. We plan on having it there at the recreation center this Thursday, although after that we do plan on moving it to the park more full-time. And like I say, that's actually been kind of unanimous input that we've received from our vendors. So I think the times that we've had it at the park, it's been, I guess, good support there, so.
So how many times have we had it at the park?
Had it at the park
Once. All right.
We have a number of vendors that were going to pull out due to being at the recreation center. And we went back and forth. We polled our vendors and polled them twice, actually. Spoke to them individually as well. And all of the vendors that we spoke to unanimously wanted to be at the park. We told them pros and cons of both locations, and every one of them wanted to be there.
All right, I have a concern about that. Originally, when we started farmers market, council wanted it somewhere downtown.
Correct.
Now we're getting further and further away, and we keep moving it, and people don't know where to come to.
Yes. And my direction from council still to this day is to locate it downtown when basically we're done with the Hickox
When you
Street
have
project.
downtown back.
So, and if it is going to vary from that, then we would bring that back to town council.
So how many days, how often is it going to be at the Huckleberry Park?
For the remainder of this season after this week.
Well, I have a problem with that.
I am with St. Bishop.
That's-
Okay.
As far as the park and everything, I mean, it's great that we have it there, but at the same time, you know, if we are doing a farmer's market, which was to bring people downtown, why aren't we having it at the new parking spaces that we have? And even how long is that going to take? I thought the town was working on the drive-through thing that was taken down recently. Maybe there's a possibility to bring it down there soon.
The reason we moved it to the recreation center originally was because of the Hickok Street project.
Well, I remember
And,
that.
and the plan has been to bring it back downtown when the project's done. And again, I think that's the last direction I heard from town council, so that would be my direction to Parks and Recreation.
Is there any
Unless,
way,
unless I hear otherwise from town council.
is there any way to maybe look into that, maybe have a work session or something with town council and see if it can be brought down to even the downtown, parking spaces that were purchased, or the drive-through, what used to be the drive-through for Wells Fargo?
One thing in regards to the grant that we received for the structures, I do think we're obligated to have the farmer's market there at least to some degree, although I don't think we'd necessarily be limited to having it there all the time. And if it works out that it's not working there, I think we'd be okay to move it. But I do think we'd be at least obligated to have it there, at least at the beginning of the structures.
And I'm not against that right now, but what I'm saying is that right now is not fulfilling the purpose of what the farmer's market was there for.
So let's talk about it in the July work session.
Okay.
Okay.
And the West Main Street closure that has been, I guess, anticipated is actually scheduled now to, our contractor should start, or their contractor should start work at the classical school on the 16th with a closure planned on the 17th. And that's to basically take down the remainder of the bell tower. And I'll point out, of course, you have new microphones here at your seats. Just point out that we are leaving the microphones on as you come in, so the microphones would be on as you come in. We're not recording until we begin the council meetings, but it might be possible that somebody might hear you in the office because all the microphones come when you come in. So just be aware of that the microphones do feed into the public relations office, and they are going to be on when you come in.
Okay.
So that's all I have.
Okay. Incidentally, if you've noticed a strange face, we have Mike Bedsole with Sands Anderson, who is actually working, he's actually the city attorney for Radford.
Sure.
And Reed is out on some personal business. So, Mike, you've been here a couple of times before,
I
way
have,
back
and
when, but
happy to be filling in and happy to help.
thank you. Any other staff? Katie, you look like you was about to bust to say something. Very good. Council reports, Mr. Bishop,
No report.
Ms. Hicks.
Yeah, I just want to say something, and I don't know if I have to read the disclosure that I have personal interest downtown, but I really feel that it is important to work with the businesses downtown, and I just hope that there is some communication that can happen, especially with businesses that are really going to be affected by the closure that's going to take place and is taking place already, especially with those business owners. And, I mean, just perfect example is this weekend too. There's a closure and stuff or whatever, which I know that is going to happen, but at the same time, there hasn't been a working force saying, you know, we can do this with the business, we can do that with that business, we can, you know, and so there's a lot of unknowns and just realizing without talking too much about the business, but, you know, closures sometimes can affect businesses. So if you're closing the streets to see how you can accommodate to maybe move the hours for opening the events and things like that, that can maybe make a difference, especially even for businesses like the ones that I run, but, you know, in this case, Jamie's business. And so, and Macaroons and all those other businesses that will really, really get affected by what's going to be taking place soon. So I just want to make sure that they are heard as well.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Wilson?
Nothing.
Ms. Hockett?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Jenkins?
Nothing.
Ms. Bowman?
Nothing.
Thank you. Timmy,
This time, I'd like to make a motion request for a closed meeting under Code of Virginia 2.2-3711A7 for consultation with legal counsel and briefings by staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation, where such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the public body. For the purposes of this subdivision, probable litigation means litigation that has been specifically threatened or on which the public body or its legal counsel has a reasonable basis to believe will be commenced by or against a known party. Nothing in this subdivision shall be construed to permit the closure of a meeting merely because an attorney representing the public body is in attendance or is consulted on a matter. The closed meeting is being held for discussion of possible litigation regarding the bell tower at 100 West Main Street.
Second.
got a motion and a second. Discussion? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop,
Aye.
Councilwoman Bowman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett,
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
That is 6-0. We're going to take about a 3-minute break so we can clear the room.